Today on the Entertainment Zone, we're talking Big Brother 25 and giving our winner predictions. Catch you guys after this. Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about Big Brother 25 and who might be the winner of Big Brother 25. And to help me break it all down today, I've brought along my friend Julie. How you doing, Julie?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm super excited to talk with you today about who we think is going to be the winner of Big Brother 25. It has been a very long season, and I am excited to see where this craziness all leads us. So, yeah, we have got a final three of Matt Jag and Bowie Jane. We talked in a previous video about our final two predictions for the season, and now we get to discuss who the winner might be. So, to start it all off, what do you think is the selling point for each of the final three? What is one thing you can say about each of their games that would be potentially a selling point to the jury?
I'm going to say what I would say if I were them. If I were Bowie Jane, I would fake or highlight that I had thrown all the competitions until I needed to win them, which is what I believe that she did. I think everybody dislikes her game, or most people dislike her game because she didn't play. And she could have. We saw during the wall comp, she literally hopped off the wall. With the HOHs she did win, she won by accident. I think that if I were Bowie Jane, I would make that story, that case that I wanted to just come off as a team player for as long as I could and started winning when I really needed to. And that's what got me as far in the game as I did. And on top of it, allowed me to stay off everyone's radar. And so I was never on the block.
I agree with all of those points. I also think that Bowie Jane started the game in a really interesting position. She got into a couple of different alliances. She was in the Professors, she was in the Bye Bye Bitches, and in both of these alliances, she was always kind of the odd one out. Nobody really liked her, nobody was really talking game with her, and so she was in a position a lot of times where if she wanted to be included in conversations, she had to basically insert herself. We saw many times that she would just barge into a room when conversations were going on and basically just like camp out. And that really annoyed a lot of players, but it's what she had to do to start getting included in things. And then she had a situation where she was left out of the red vote, and that's when she really started realizing her position with these two alliances that she was in, and that people really didn't respect her as much as she thought they did, or hoped they did. That then when we get to the Izzy vote, that's a thing, a situation where she's finally being included in something. She feels like an equal partner in a plan, kind of started to shift her game a little bit, even though it was not really her doing. It was more people realizing, oh, here's this piece on the board that isn't being used. Let's bring her in. That, um, she was finally being included in things. She was finally like, okay, I need to show my loyalty to this group. And originally, that whole plan was spearheaded by America and Corey, but then they kind of let her fall to the wayside the same way that Suri let her fall to the wayside. So then she kind of planted her flag with Matt and Jag, and I think that was something that, she just had to do for her survival. So I think if she gets to the final two, she can definitely say, you know, I didn't have any allies, and so I had to prove myself to certain people. I had to lower my threat level and not win competitions so that people weren't threatened. And, maybe this isn't the flashy game that everybody wanted to see me play, but it's what I had to do for my survival. And while I don't know if that would resonate with the jury, I do think there's some truth to it. And I feel like a lot of times in final two scenarios, you have to, rather than say, hey, I was running everything, you have to be honest about the position you were in and the game you had to play. And I think if she's able to do that, she has the chance at least of gaining a little bit of jury respect.
Yeah, that's a good point. And as you're bringing out those various points, I'm reminded that because she's from Australia, she's more accustomed probably to the Big Brother Australia format, which is more how she played this game. Like Big Brother Australia, you're more appealing to Australia, the audience that's watching you. You're not playing strategically up until, much later in the game. And when Tim Dormer from Australia played Big Brother Canada, he used well, I'm from Australia. It's a totally different game there as part of his way to survive in the game. Even though she hasn't used that in this game, she didn't really need to. She could definitely use it as part of her pitch. I'm accustomed to a totally different version of Big Brother, and I had to figure out how to maneuver my way through this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we saw last year with Taylor that it was a situation where she very much had to say, this is the game that I was forced into. This is the position that I was forced into, and how I was able to maneuver within those boundaries, and I still made it. Um, you know, do I think that that kind of story is going to resonate with this cast, with this specific player? Not really. I don't even think that Bowie Jane has enough awareness of what exactly she did. I think she's going to come off just as inauthentic as she's been this whole season. But, again, I do think there is a way there for her. It's just something she has to recognize.
Yeah, agreed. And I think that even if she kicks it into lawyer gear and is able to become eloquent, I think it would rub everyone the wrong way because she's been ineloquent the entire game. For her to suddenly pull some baller lawyer moves just at the final speech, I think would turn people off.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it would come off as very much inauthentic, very much like she was selling a lie the whole time,
Hmm.
and not even a particularly good one. That I agree, it would rub a lot of people the wrong way.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I don't think Bowie Jane's even going to make it to that
Right.
seat, but even
Yeah,
if she did, I don't think she's going to be our winner.
absolutely agreed. Um, so what do you think is the path or the pitch that Matt could make that would resonate with the jury.
Yeah, I foresee Matt using the, you know, I have a disability. I had these struggles throughout the game. I think he even came into the game thinking he was the only person with a disability to ever play the game,
Hmm.
discounting season one of Big Brother, but
Hmm.
whatever, neither here nor there.
Right.
Um, I think if I were Matt, I would definitely lean on the social game, remind the jury how much they like him, even giving shout outs to each one of them subtly throughout his speech would be a good move. Um, Highlighting the comps. He has one, of course, that's always beneficial. And then the heavy hitter is that Jag shouldn't even be there. Jag, was evicted unanimously. That we've never had a winner, I think, of Big Brother who's been evicted unanimously or evicted at all. No one who's ever been bought back has ever won. I think I could be wrong. And then, the only reason Jag is even in the house is because of Matt. And I would go off of that. That would be the linchpin on top of the great relationship he has with everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. He has a really great story that I think is um, is likely to resonate with the jury. We know he had a rough first couple of weeks uh, in the game, being able to communicate with the other house guests, and that is in large part why he was drawn to people like Riley, who we've heard plenty about this entire season. Um, so I do think that the fact that he's made it this far is an incredible feat. I also agree he's got really great relationships, or pretty good relationships. I remember seeing Corey talk about how much everybody loves Matt and how much he was going around saying Matt's a huge threat. People really like him. Um, so I think that he has definitely handled relationships with people better than Jag has. He definitely has his faults, but ultimately, I think he's a nice enough guy to the house guests that they would be willing to vote for him. And yeah, it cannot be understated that to use Mama Fee's words, by the faith of a mustard seed, Jag stayed in the game because of a decision that Matt made. It was a singular decision by one person that could have completely changed the entire course of the season, um, did change the entire course of the season, but also could have completely changed whether or not Jeg was even here at this end stretch of the game. And I would be very frustrated if we don't see the jury bring that up at all. I would be very frustrated to not see Matt bring it up at all because I think it is a very good point that needs to be addressed.
Agreed. And I think that we may see where Matt was very good at relationships within the house. He's not very eloquent. I wonder if he will be able to tell his story well during that speech portion. I wonder if he will know to bring up these key points and state them in a way that's going to hit home. But with that said, we might have a season where the speeches don't even matter because I guarantee you right now, for the two mamas Felicia and Sari are working the house and most likely working the house in Matt's favor.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. We saw Suri last night very much talking about how Jag wasn't really impressive because he had to win a bunch of competitions against two senior citizens and an idiot. And
I would give Jag that same congratulations if he wasn't playing against two senior citizens, one airhead and one idiot.
um, and so yeah, I definitely think they are working that house, and they're two big personalities that I think, uh, especially because we have a smaller jury, I think it's going to be a lot easier to influence the decision that the jury ultimately makes. I e- Even if it comes down to the speeches or the Q&A, I'm not quite sure that the speaking abilities are gonna matter as much. I don't know how Jag is as a public speaker, but I think there are just some stories that kind of speak for themselves. That as long as Matt doesn't fumble the bag too much, as long as he shows some humility, I don't see any of his answers or his speech really making or breaking things.
So, what are
So
your thoughts on Jag?
yeah, so I have been going back and forth with this because I I think Jag has been the favored winner for weeks. Um, I I don't see it changing too much. Maybe, like you said, it will change more now that Suri and Felicia are in the jury house. Because I don't see this being a particularly bitter cast. And so I think they will go for the better player. And, like, for me, the better player is never somebody that gets evicted 10-0. But a lot of times, the better player is determined to be the person that was really running things. And Jag has really been running things. That I still think that he has the ability to win this game. I think he can ma- make the argument that he had a redemption arc, right? He was evicted, but he came back, and you guys could have gotten rid of me at any point, but instead I got rid of you. You guys gave me a second chance, and you shouldn't have done that. And now look where I'm at. Um,
Yeah.
and so with that, I do think that he still has more than a good chance here to win the game.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, one thing we do know is one of the ways that Jag has been running the house is with his incessant badgering and nonstop talking. So I do think he's gonna have a strong speech prepared and be able to highlight how he was responsible for a lot of those bigger people going home, like taking out Cam, big deal, especially getting Bowie Jane to take out Cam, which for me was even a huge shock because up until that point, Cam was the only person that even gave Bowie Jane the time of day.
Right.
And then, yeah, take like he was essentially responsible for everybody who went home, for every move that was made. Like Sari was responsible for, I'd say, a quarter of the game, and then Cam kind of ran a quarter of the game, and then Jag ran the last half. And the last half is arguably the most important. So I think if he can find a way to not sound too cocky, but explain that he ran the game, and yeah, explain like, yeah, you guys almost had me out at a time where I wasn't even a threat to you, and then you let me stay, and then you didn't get rid of me the entire time that I was a visible threat to you, and let me run the game and supported me in every decision that I had. I personally think that he's played the strongest overall game of the season. Again, not my favorite player by any means because it wasn't necessarily strategic so much as just kind of bulldozing. But I think that agreed too, that I don't know that the jury is going to be as bitter as we kind of felt like they were going to be a few weeks ago. I think for sure he's got Cam's vote. I could see him having Corey's and thus America's. And then he did try to poison Felicia in the goodbye messages. That may have worked. Who knows? So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. It could be anyone's game at this point. But if we had to choose, who do you think it'll be?
I'll I'll say Matt. I'll say Matt because I think he's won not too much, um, so he hasn't had to piss off too many people. Um, I think, like we said, he has a great story. He's well liked because, again, he didn't have to get as much blood on his hands. Um, and yeah, so that's what I think I'll say. I'll say Matt.
It's tough. Like they're both pretty solid. I think I'll go with Jag just to be a contrarian so that we
Okay.
can have something to bet on.
Okay. All right. Well, there you have it, folks. That is our winner predictions for Big Brother 25. Let us know who you think is going to win the season down in the comments. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and make sure you have the notification bell hit so that you get notified whenever I post a new video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Jag played a really good competitive game and he had a good social game, but I don't know that he'll beat Matt in a vote. So he may have just given away his $750,000.